Okay, so now that we've practiced rewriting our numbers and we've practiced solving with counters and solving with number lines, now we're just going to talk about the actual integer rules. So the rules that you can use to easily solve an integer problem without doing any extra number lines or counters or things like that. Those are good things to check your answer or reinforce your answer, but we're going to talk about a really easy way to just solve without it. Okay, so we're still going to use the same strategies. Okay, we're still going to circle and separate and create a table. Okay, so there is an integer song for adding and subtracting integers. Don't worry, we'll sing it as a class. Okay, if you don't sing, then you have to sing by yourself, so make sure that you are participating when we sing. Okay, all right, so the song goes like this. Same signs you add, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number, then you'll be exact. Same signs you add, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number, then you'll be exact. All right, so we're filling that in. Same signs you add, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number, and then you'll be exact, okay? So when they say same signs, they mean it's either both numbers are positive or both numbers are negative, okay? Those are same signs. If they're different signs, that means one of the numbers is positive and one of the numbers is negative. So those would be different. And then when we say keep the sign of the bigger number, we mean the absolute value of the number, okay? So the absolute value bar around the number, if it is the bigger number after you take absolute value, then it is going to be our answer, okay? All right, so let's practice. I promise if we practice a little bit, it's going to make it really, really easy. Okay, so we're going to circle and separate. So example 1, I have a -6 and a +4. I'm going to rewrite those, okay? And then I'm going to create my positive and negative table. So how many positives do I have? 4. And how many negatives do I have? 6. So from there, we are just going to ask ourselves, are they the same signs or different? Well, if they're on different signs of my table, then they're different signs because one of them is positive and one is negative. So that would be different signs. What are we going to do? Subtract. Okay, so what is 6 minus 4? Well, 6 minus 4 is 2. So the solution to this is 2. But then we have to decide who had the bigger number, who had more players on their team. Did the positive team have more players or did the negative team have more players? Well, we can see that the negative team had more players, and so the answer will be -2. If you wanted, you could draw some quick counters and check yourself. So -6 and +4, and then we make our 0 pairs. And we can see what's left over, -2. So I have proven my answer lots of ways. I had my table, I showed my work. Okay, remember these are different signs, right? They were on different sides of our table, and so that is why we subtracted. All right, let's try the next one. Example number 2 says -5 plus -10. So remember, we're going to circle and separate. So my first number is just -5, but my second number has both signs. So when we have a good, which is positive, versus evil, which is negative, who wins? Well, in math, evil wins. Ha ha ha. Okay, that's my evil laugh. You're welcome. Okay, we might evil laugh in class. So evil wins. So make sure that you keep the negative on that 10, right? Evil wins. And then now we are ready to create our table. So we make our positive negative table. Do I have any positives? No, but I have a -5 and a -10. Okay, so what is 5 plus 10, right? Because they're the same signs, right? They're both negative, so we're going to add. So what is 10 plus 5? Well, that would be 15. So my solution will be 15, but then I have to decide, is it positive or negative? Okay, we were same, right? Both negatives, so that's why we added. All right, so again, we are trying to decide, are they team positive or team negative? Well, were there any team positives? No, but everybody was on team negative, so we will keep the sign of the team negative. All right? Example number 3. Example number 3 says 8 minus 11. So this doesn't necessarily look like an integer problem. It doesn't look like we have negatives. But if I have 8 chairs, can 11 people sit in those chairs? No. So this is actually a negative 11 and a positive 8. Okay, so I have a positive 8 and a negative 11. We always rewrite with our symbol. And we're going to create our positive negative table. So how many positives did I have? 8. How many negatives did I have? 11. So in this case, are they same signs or different? Well, you can see they're different because one is on the positive side and one is on the negative. So because they are different, our rule is subtract. Okay, so we're going to subtract 11 minus 8. And 11 minus 8, will that be 9, 10, 11? So there's 3 left. So the solution will be 3. And then I have to decide who wins, who has more teammates. Does the positive team have more or does the negative team? Well, 11 is bigger, has a bigger absolute value than the 8. So therefore, the negatives win. Team negative wins. Okay? Again, if you wanted, you could draw some counters to quickly prove your answer on these if you were struggling. All right, example number 4. Example number 4, we have 16 minus negative 3. So remember when a number doesn't have a symbol, we're going to throw a positive on it. And we always circle everything, so we can't leave anything outside of circles. And you can see this is one of those where we have double negative. We have 2 evils. And so we can just make those into a giant positive. Remember, 2 evils or 2 negatives make a positive. Literally, a plus sign is 2 minus signs put together. Okay? So we're going to make those into a positive. Rewrite positive 16 and positive 3. Okay? So I make my positive negative t-chart or table. And how many positives? 16. How many positives? 3. So again, we don't have anything on the negative side. So we have same signs. They're both on the positive side. So if there's the same, we're going to add. So what is 16 plus 3? Well, 16 plus 3 is 19. So my solution will be 19. And they are all on team positive. So my solution is still positive 19, okay? All right, example number 5 is a little different simply because instead of having 2 numbers, now we have 3, but the rules are still gonna be the same. So we're gonna circle and separate first, okay? So I'm gonna grab my pen, I'm gonna circle and separate. Make sure everything is inside of a circle, okay? And then I'm gonna rewrite. So I have negative 4, I have negative 6, and I have positive 7. Okay, I'm going to make my positive and negative t-charts. I have 7 positive, I have 4 negative, and 6 negative. So what I have to do is I'm going to do 2 numbers at a time. So I'm going to start with same signs you add. So I have some same signs over here. So my negative side will be negative 10, right? And then on this side, I have my positive 7. So now I have different signs, so I can subtract. So 10 minus 7 will be 3. So I have 3 positives. I mean, 3 is my solution. And then I have to decide who had more power. Did the 10 have more power or did the 7 have more power? Well, 10 has a greater absolute value, right? There's more people on team negative than there were on team positive. So because of that, my answer will be negative. Just because this is a triplet, I want to show you how to prove yourself with counters. So I'm going to draw some negative 4 counters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then negative 6 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I put all my negatives together. And then I have positive 7. So positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I make my 0 pairs where I mark them out. So I mark out 1 positive and 1 negative each time. And then what's left? 3 negatives. So that just kind of proves our answer since this was kind of new for us. And that's it, guys. That is adding and subtracting integers with our integer song. Same signs you add, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number, then you'll be exact. Have a great time solving.